Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Today what I'm going to make is a very special recipe to me and my family. I'm going to make my dad's Brunswick Stew. For those of you that don't know what Brunswick Stew is, it's quite a southern thing. There's many recipes for it, but I just know my dad's, and he cooked it for us for years and years. He didn't have it written down anywhere. It was something he did by memory until one day he wanted to submit a recipe to his church cookbook, and so he sat down and wrote everything out, and so that's how I have it now. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. What you do is you take the pork. You can use a side of pork ribs. I'm going to use Boston butt, and just place it in a big pan. Place the onions, one large onion diced. Just throw that in there. Going to do, there's quite a bit of black pepper in this. 2.5 tablespoons. Well, that's not going to work. Let me open up that side. So, and I'm using a 1/2 tablespoon measurement. Yeah. So, I have that in there, and some crushed ground red pepper. Just give it that little sprinkle. Some Worcestershire sauce, 2 tablespoons of that. I have a 2 tablespoon measurement on here I've never used. So I'm going to use that. So 2 tablespoons of the Worcestershire sauce. And let's see if there's anything else. So far that's it. You take that, you cover your pan, or cover the items in your pan with water. This has to cook for quite a while. Once you get the water in, you cook it for about 4 hours. So let me get that on the stove. Add some salt. And then I'm just going to turn that on, and I'm going to bring it to a boil, and then I'll turn it down to simmer, and I'll put a lid on it. But a little bit about this recipe. It's something I've only made. My dad passed away in 2011, and this was a dish that was very strongly associated with him. I have honestly only made it myself one other time, so I'm having to look over at my directions to make it, and I hope it's going to turn out fine. We shall see. My dad used to do this in a pressure cooker, and I do remember, I think I was in junior high, my dad had some going on a Sunday on the stove. We were in the living room watching TV, and he had it in the pressure cooker, and all of a sudden it sounded like a shotgun went off in the house. I had never heard anything like that in my life. My mom screamed, my dad screamed, everybody jumped up, they ran into the kitchen, I was scared to go in the kitchen, so me and my sister just kind of stood in the living room because we didn't know what the heck had happened. Excuse my language. And all I heard is my dad go, "Well, Lord, Pat, there's Brunswick stew on the ceiling." And so that was the last time he ever cooked it in a pressure cooker. He had to adapt it and figured out how to cook it actually on a pot on the stove. But I'm going to attempt this, and I'll put the recipe up also. And the other items that go in it after this is cooked, you put in a can of creamed corn, a can of tomato sauce, 5 cups cubed potatoes. And I'll tell you more about how all that works when we get to it. So I'm going to have this going and see y'all in a minute. Hey y'all, welcome back to my kitchen. Today what I'm going to make is a very special recipe to me and my family. I am going to make my dad's Brunswick stew. For those of you that don't know what Brunswick stew is, it's quite a southern thing. There's many recipes for it, but I just know. Now I'm going to add the potatoes, which I have peeled and cubed. Oh goodness. That might be bad.
Chicken.
I am an amateur. Yes, a chicken. So.
We're going to be here all day.
I'll go quickly. When I just get it down where it won't all splash real hard back at me. Yeah. Well, that wasn't too bad after all. Okay, so I've got my potatoes in there. Now I'm going to let it cook about another hour. Have it boil, stirring it often. And this, what you want to do with the potatoes is you want to cook them until they're almost dissolved, because that will help thicken your stew. So let me get this to a boil and we'll see you in a little bit. And now I'm going to add the tomato sauce. Give it a stir. And then it's going to cook for about another 30 more minutes. And then we will add the creamed corn. And then it will be almost done. Alright, the tomato sauce has been in. The last thing to do is to add your 2 cans of creamed corn. And once you add the creamed corn, according to my dad's recipe, you have to stir often, because this will thicken it up, and plus the corn can stick to the side. So let me stir that in. It looks like. Can you come over here and get it? So now it's just going to cook for a few minutes like this, and then it will be done, and then we will plate it up. Next time we see you. Welcome back, y'all. It's all finished now. I'm dishing up the first bowl. This really is a labor of love. What you've watched, oh, this is hot too. What you've watched in about 15-20 minutes actually took 6 hours. But this is the finished product, and you have to some bread or some saltines, glass of tea, you have a meal. Thank you all for watching, and come back and see us. Bye-bye.